Fabrizio Romano says Jorginho set to join Flamengo on a free transfer. Here we go. Smash the like button, folks. Plan confirmed since January and deal set to be sealed for the midfielder who's leaving Arsenal in June. 3-year deal until 2028 at Flamengo. Verbal agreement agreed. So yeah, man. Best of luck, Jorginho, returning to his homeland of Brazil. I know he's in Italy international, and you know if that's what he wants to do, that's what he wants to do. It seems like Partey might be staying because we did see contract rumors. I think, you know, if Arsenal fans haven't learned anything beyond the obvious this season, why you need depth, even off the back of, you know, we know the Paris Saint-Germain game in Paris, you know, we'll have Partey back. But even looking at the game at the Emirates, no Partey. I'm not saying Partey is there, we would have won, but our midfield would have looked a lot more functional. And unfortunately, because of the lack of depth and things like that, sometimes we have to move one part of the team, three sub parts of the team to kind of mitigate against one issue. You know, it's one thing talking about Partey not being there, it's another thing talking about not even having Jorginho. So then you're faced with the prospect of moving Mikel Merino, who's having a bit of a purple patch up front, back into the 8 role. And despite him being a midfielder, it's like he hasn't played in midfield in that regards, man, such as I guess the recent muscle memory. But he's moved there. Rice has gone back to the 6. You're then faced with, you know, Trossard still lumping it long for him. It's not going to work. If this season hasn't shown Arsenal fans, and not more importantly, but more importantly, the decision makers in terms of recruitment at Arsenal, why we not only need quality but quantity, and they need to overlap. I don't know what will, man. Mikel Arteta keeps saying we've got a squad of 19. Last time I checked, we have the ambition to compete in 4 competitions. We've reached the semi-finals of 2. We, you know, got smoked in the Premier League or smoked ourselves. And then obviously you've got the FA Cup, which was shoddy as well. So we need depth. The FA Cup had nothing to do with depth for what it's worth. But yeah, big up Jorginho. You would have seen recent reports linking Arsenal with another winger, people. This time it's the Englishman, Jamie Gittens. Apparently Arsenal are in serious talks with Borussia Dortmund for the signing of Jamie Gittens. Apparently we're ahead of Chelsea in the race, although some reports say Arsenal are monitoring the situation. Some say Chelsea have actually made a bid. So if they've made a bid and started some level of contact and we're monitoring, surely they're ahead. Apparently it will cost 50 to 60 million euros. I mean, I'm all for it. I understand the Chelsea links beyond the obvious because he spent time at City. You see a number of Manchester City recruitment staff over there at Chelsea. So it's just common sense, people. Now, would I say at the point of entry, he's the game-changing left winger we need? No, but he's young, he's English, he's impressionable, can take his consistency up to another level. I'm all for it if this is something that is genuinely going to happen. Apparently, Borussia Dortmund wonder kid Jamie Gittens has informed his teammates he's set to leave the club this summer. The England under-21 international has been heavily linked with a move to Chelsea in recent weeks, and the Blues are expected to intensify their pursuit of his signature ahead of the upcoming summer transfer window. However, Arsenal are reportedly now in pole position to land Gittens as Mikel Arteta looks to bring a new left winger to the club. The Gunners are firmly in the race to sign the 20-year-old, and Gittens believes a move to the Emirates Stadium may be better for his development than a Stamford Bridge switch. Wonder why that is. Is it because we've got young players who have improved? Or is it something else? I don't know, people. But yeah, we need to go out there and find a winger and some attacking options. Keeping up the theme with Arsenal and Chelsea. Chelsea are expected to reportedly be among the clubs in talks to sign RB Leipzig's Benjamin Sesko. Like Arsenal, they're actively looking for a forward. They've been linked with Osimhen, who's in talks allegedly with Manchester United, as well as Ollie Watkins, who's been linked with us. You can throw Liverpool and Manchester City into the realm, people. Apparently, Maresca's side, like Arsenal, are involved. Apparently, reps from Arsenal and Liverpool were reportedly also at the Red Bull Arena in order to keep a close eye on Sesko, and he scored a stunning Trivela finish in the 11th minute to open the scoring. Apparently, Arsenal have reportedly conducted extensive background work on Sesko, while Chelsea and Liverpool are both extremely interested in the under 21, in the 21-year-old, apologies, reading 2 things at once, and remain contenders to sign him. All 3 clubs are in talks with Sesko's reps as per TBR Football, although Football Transfers have been told that Arsenal shifted their focus to finalising a deal for Victor Gyökeres since the appointment of Andrea Berta as sporting director. As a result, Chelsea and Liverpool may be set to battle for Sesko this summer as they look to bring in a number of reinforcements. Now, I'm all for Gyökeres, but if Gyökeres goes to Man United, if they get Champions League football, and Sesko goes to either Liverpool or Chelsea, where does that leave us? Who do we go for? I don't know, but between Berta, Mikel Arteta, and those in and around the recruitment and technical staff at Arsenal, figure it out. We need a striker. We need a centre mid. We need a left winger. In my opinion, we need a goalie. We need a left back. We need quality. We need quantity. Smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and let me know your thoughts on what we've discussed so far. Keeping up the theme with Arsenal, or better yet, players that are at Arsenal. Now, we have to wait for Mikel Arteta's press conference, but allegedly, Jurrien Timber and Martin Ødegaard are doubts for Arsenal's second leg with PSG, which, I mean, many people are not happy with Ødegaard's form, but definitely where Timber's concerned, that's a bitter pill to swallow. And to be honest, we need both. According to RMC, Arsenal have been dealt a potential blow ahead of their Champions League final with PSG. I mean, it basically is a final. Our season's on the line. We've said that numerous times this season, and I think it is our final because if it stays 0-0, owing to the first leg, we're out. But is that an honest mistake or a RMC, or better yet, Get Football News France running banter? But we're set to miss Martin Ødegaard and Timber. We don't need that. Timber looks like more likely to miss out versus PSG again. Benjamin White's not fully fit, and God forbid anything happens to White, we're in real trouble. It's a big week for us. You got Paris Saint-Germain and Liverpool. In an ideal world, you'd have a must-win. Well, you obviously have won the first leg, but this would be a week where it's all to play for, where you go into Liverpool Arsenal, which is supposed to be a title challenge. Congratulations to Liverpool, knowing that basically that's a 6 point. Whoever wins that wins the league. Hopefully that's the case next season. Ødegaard could also be a doubt for the game against the League One champions. The Arsenal captain was seen limping off the pitch at the Emirates. I hope this is mind games, if I'm honest with you, but it is not what you want to hear, and it doesn't fuel you with any confidence. Arsenal reportedly are preparing a formal offer of 60 million for Gyökeres. Sporting are holding out for a sum closer to the striker's 100 million euros buyout clause. Now, naturally, if you've got a Sesko, a Ekitike, a Gyökeres, Isak's not for sale, but Isak, you want a bidding war to commence. So I don't blame Sporting for trying to get more than 60 million or get as close to his buyout clause as possible. Some do say that he has a gentleman's agreement to leave for substantially less than his buyout clause. As I always say, in business, it'd be nice if everyone conducted themselves as gentlemen, but unless there's cold-hearted contractual evidence that you have this said gentleman's agreement in which takes it above that, who knows? Unless I's have been dotted, T's have been crossed, we'll have to see, man. And get braced, Arsenal fans, for several rumours. Apparently, Gyökeres is Man United's priority striker if they win the Europa League. And I hope Bodo Glimt and Bilbao do the remontada, or rotunda, as I refer to it as. And I hope that's the final. If it comes down to between Spurs and Manchester United, naturally, I'd rather Manchester United win it, people. Gyökeres, Sesko, and Osimhen are all contenders to lead the line for Liverpool next season. And them three players have been linked with Liverpool and a bunch of clubs. Apparently, RB Leipzig won a 90 million euros package deal to agree the sale of Benjamin Sesko. Sky Germany have also said the release clause for Sesko now stands at over 80 million for the summer due to his performances and flexibility within the contract. So it's gone up from last year. However, a transfer is also possible without triggering the release clause. Sesko will be allowed to leave Leipzig if a suitable offer comes in. I mean, that's music to Arsenal's ears, if I'm honest with you. Apparently, he has a 68 million pounds is what it would equate to release clause this summer. Leipzig know it'll be difficult for clubs to trigger the full amount at once, so are willing to separate it into payments. But if done so, they want 75 million. Boy, I don't know. Arsenal and Liverpool are both interested in Hugo Ekitike. Frankfurt want 100 million euros for him, people. Where are you lot at with that? As I said, allegedly, Man United have entered talks with Victor Osimhen. Is that something you want Arsenal to do? Speaking of alarm bells, Arsenal reportedly extremely worried about Real Madrid's interest in William Saliba, and they're eager to tie him down to a new long-term contract in order to ward off the Spanish Giants. There's so many options. You either the extreme one where you sell him this summer, you probably have to sell him next summer at a profit but a reduced cost. You're not going to get the 90 to 100 million I believe you should be getting, like a Van Dijk kind of figure for Saliba, or you run the risk of him leaving for free in 2027. And I don't need to spell it out to you. When Real Madrid comes calling, it's a different knock. It's very difficult to turn them down, and you're seeing it with Trent, you've seen it with Mbappe. They're prepared to wait. And if there's one area I believe they really need reinforcements, probably their back line. I know they've got Asensio who's come up, but Rudiger and Alaba not going to be there forever. They have got Militao, but you could make a case of them needing a right back, in which they've done it with Trent, potentially a left back. I don't know if Garcia and Mendy is convincing, and the centre half or maybe even two. So I understand the Saliba links, the Højlund links, etc. We all know we don't want the 24-year-old to go, people. We all know Real Madrid interest isn't going to go away. Even in Trent's case, you win everything, Madrid still come call at your current club. Madrid still come calling. We know we've been linked with Dean Hodgson of Bournemouth, who did well against us. He's got a 58 million euros release clause. Apparently, Real Madrid are not keen on activating that. And apparently it can be paid in installments, which is music to Arsenal's ears. Despite this, Real Madrid remain interested in finalizing an agreement for his signature, and they're even opening to waiting until he becomes a free agent in 2027 in order to sign him. I've skipped out a bit. The club are also pursuing a move for Saliba, although multiple reports indicate he is extremely unlikely to leave Arsenal this summer. So World Cup year, and if we have another year like this, which I don't want, then I wonder what players are thinking. I don't think we'll have issues committing Saka. Saliba is the one I'm watching now. Saliba, like all the players, have, you know, they're the ones playing. They have to take responsibility for how their season's gone. But at the same time, I think if you were naive or you did buy into the project, I think this is the year, all things considered. If you're an Arsenal fan, if you're an outsider, if you're a player, even Declan Rice saying in January, I hope we sign players because Tierney's playing left wing. I know he said it in jest. This is the summer where you're really looking around and thinking, whoa. And what I mean by that is 2022, 23, fair enough. We didn't expect to be in a title challenge, but we did. It showed us what could happen. The next year, everyone's going to get better. We're going to, you know, fall off a cliff. We did better in the Champions League. Not saying I'm happy to just do better and not win, but we didn't get embarrassed against Bayern, but we went out. We did not win a trophy, but we ran it down to the last day of the season. Now, when you see the 2 years, when you hear the bullish chat, when you see the way the team's developed, you know, and fought for the league for 2 years, coming into this season, you'd be forgiven for thinking maybe we could put our best foot forward and go one step better. You look at the recruitment in the summer, you look at the ability to, you look at better yet being proactive in the summer or finding those game changers. The signings we made in the summer didn't do that. You look at maybe being reactive in January and getting in some attacking reinforcements. We didn't do any of that. The proof is in the pudding. There's 13, 14 draws. Yes, you could talk about rest, but there's 13, 14 draws. You know, we're so off the pace of winning the Premier League. You know, Man City have actually been on top of the Premier League table more times than us. So I think this is a year where everybody's got to look around at the club. And if we were living in this kind of fairy world, it's one to, you know, we've got a lot of work to do. So I think next year is very crucial in convincing a lot of things of what's going on. You know, on the face of it, there is stability because Berta's walked in, whether we like it or not. Arteta signed a new deal, 15 million a year. His staff have been given new deals. There is that level of stability. Arsenal are hoping to extend Saliba's contract for several years, but Football Insider claims that alarm bells are ringing at the Emirates Stadium, with the club understood to be hugely concerned by Real Madrid's pursuit of the France international. Apparently he said, I'm really happy here because we have some years remaining on the contract. There's no rush at the minute. There's no rush for you. And if I was you, I'd be in no rush to sign a new deal. I want to win big things with Arsenal. If you leave this club without winning anything, the fans will forget about you. I want to win big things here. Now, a bit of that is what you'd expect a player to say. I like the fact that he said that. I have no doubt his words are true, but things change. You're 24. Are you going to feel that same way, God forbid, if we're not winning stuff at your 26, 27? And he's also spoken about, yes, wanting to win stuff at Arsenal, wanting to be the best defender in the world and wanting to be the best he could be and how much he could improve. But he has spoke about the correlation between being the best in the world and titles. Does he believe in the project? I'm not sure. Only he could tell you. But yeah, alarm bells allegedly were concerned. Naturally, he's a quality player. He's a linchpin in our side. He's got 2 years left. Everybody would try to get involved. Apparently, Real Madrid have been in contact with his entourage. And you imagine Mbappe sending several WhatsApp messages. The player believes Real Madrid is the highest level of footballer can reach. I think all of us believe in that, man. He's been in talks with Real Madrid for weeks, allegedly. The Spanish club want to make him the leader of their defense. He's been in talks with Real Madrid. It's the only club he'd be willing to leave Arsenal for. The defender does not intend to leave Arsenal, though, but the club will have to prove it's possible to win trophies. That is being said by L'Equipe people. Arsenal are set to make a decision about the future of Calafiori amid interest from Serie A clubs like AC Milan. I can't lie, I'm not selling. I don't know about you lot. I know he's been injury prone, but I think there's enough talent in there to persist with him. Needs to get over the injuries. We've got a lot of things that we need to do at the club before we sell him. Of course, if we somehow make a tiny profit and he wants to go, then that's another story. I don't believe this. I don't think that's that. I think there's if there's a defender at Arsenal that goes to an Italian club, it's probably Jacques Kivio. And as it says there, we signed him 12 months ago for 42 million. With what we've seen from him in an Arsenal shirt, I don't think you're going to get your money back, people. And obviously Zinchenko's expected to leave. He's still drawing interest from Borussia Dortmund, people who have to know, people. It's a decision Arsenal and Arteta have to make. They know the extent of his injury issues and whether it's going to keep cropping up. Then they'll weigh that up against what they know he can do when he's fit, and they'll decide whether he's worth keeping him on. There's interest in a move back to Italy, and AC Milan have been mentioned as one of those teams. If Arsenal can make the money back they spent on him last summer, they might think it's the best thing to do, given how many games he's missed. His Injuries are a major concern because if he can only play 15 to 20 games a season, he's not going to be someone they want to keep on the books. I mean, obviously, we couldn't have predicted this, but he has, I think, a record of injuries. Surely they knew this before. But at the same time, there are a few players who look like they'll leave Arsenal this year. They cannot let too many go because the depth is already an issue. So it's a big decision for them to make, and one they'll sit down and discuss soon. So again, it's a lot of, I guess, food for thought, if I'm honest. Arsenal have inquired about signing Rodrigo from Real Madrid, while Manchester City are also interested in the 24-year-old people. What one is this? Arsenal are set to make a massive offer for Mohamed Kudus. I don't think anyone believes this, if I'm completely honest with you. He's linked with moves away like in Saudi. I don't think anyone believes this, but he is linked with Arsenal as well as Liverpool as well, people. And it's an easy one to link people with, people. Hudson is a player in demand this summer. Multiple clubs are keen. Arsenal, Liverpool and Chelsea, as you can see here, have been interested. The players apparently weighing up his options. Arsenal could use more depth in the defensive unit, and the 20-year-old would be a long-term investment for them. However, they need to improve other areas of their squad, and a central defender is not a priority. Spending 50 million on the Spaniard could prove to be problematic. What do you lot make of that, people? What's this in relation to Romano? Romano's also spoken about Hodgson, people. He said, some sources are telling me there's a strong possibility to see him decide his future this month, so not to be a saga for July, August, deadline day, and all those sorts of stories, but to be a quick transfer. Fair enough, people. The English clubs, the three English clubs involved are Chelsea, excellent relationship with the player side, Arsenal considering Højsund as a top defender, and also in contact with the player side, and then Liverpool. All three clubs are absolutely in the race. It seems like Real Madrid admire him, but he's not someone they're going to go and buy. We've gone over that with the injury stuff. Arsenal made Raheem Sterling decision. He hasn't done enough to justify a permanent transfer. I mean, did we need to read that to know that, people? Could be interesting where Nico Williams is concerned. Allegedly, voices within Barca say that they would prefer the signing of Rafa Leao over Nico Williams this summer. What would you lot prefer? Aston Villa and Arsenal allegedly are eyeing a £42 million bid to sign Vlahovic from Juventus. Completely off topic, but apparently Everton, I can't remember the other Premier League team, but apparently Everton are trying to get Nicolas Pepe, people. Nico Williams has been regularly tipped or linked with a move to Chelsea and Arsenal, but a new name has been tipped to step up their interest in the athletic star. Liverpool have been thrown into the mix now, people. Everyone and their dog is going to be interested. Paris Saint-Germain every now and again are interested. Apparently, he may need an operation this summer to solve a chronic injury, which could complicate not only a transfer to Arsenal, but somewhere else, people. Williams and athletic doctors will hold a meeting to discuss how to treat the problem. He's been dealing with a sports hernia this season, a chronic injury that has hampered his performances. The player could either follow a conservative treatment plan based on physiotherapy and rest, which would avoid surgery but risk not fully solving the issue. Alternatively, Williams could indeed have a hernia operation in the summer, which would rule him out for up to 3 months. The injury complicates Williams' potential move to Arsenal, who'll be wary of signing a player with this kind of problem hanging over him. Williams is Arsenal's top target this summer to strengthen their widening areas. Apparently, the Gunners were in talks with Williams' reps and had been put in pole position for a deal by their new sporting director, Andrea Berta, who would be happy to trigger his 58 million release clause in his athletic contract if they table a bid. But his high wage demands have made negotiations over personal terms tricky. Apparently, as high as 400 grand, people. Barca also wish to sign Williams, but their financial situation makes it difficult. We were involved with Barcelona in a two-way tussle, so we'll have to see, man. And Athletic could get Champions League football. What has been said here? Sesko sends clear Arsenal message after Gyökeres confirmation. Arsenal accelerate in their pursuit of Victor Gyökeres, but RB Leipzig striker Sesko is determined to show the Gunners that he should be their number 9. Apparently, Edu in 2024 for the best part of the year laid the groundwork. In the summer, he decided to stay. This summer, it seems like he's going to keep it moving, but it does feel like with Berta coming in, we've pivoted, allegedly, according to reports, to Gyökeres. Sesko, at the time, Sesko's decision to stay at Leipzig and to hone his skills for another season seemed sensible. However, in hindsight, it was probably a mistake that's proved costly, not just for him, but also Arsenal. We all know the lack of a number 9 has harmed us. He's got 21 goals in 43 appearances, people, which are good numbers, people. Don't really match up to what Gyökeres is doing in Portugal, though, does it? In general, Sesko hasn't always been capable of showing that he's ready to lead the line for a club like Arsenal. When he's on form, he's an unstoppable machine with much upside, but there have been plenty of times this term he has been anonymous for extended periods. His scoring record so far this calendar year is blotchy, to say the least. In 15 Bundesliga games, he has scored 6 goals, 4 of them coming against sides that are battling relegation. I mean, you could argue some of the games we struggled against the lower sides, had there a couple of draws been converted into victories, who knows? We all know he's got height, he's got ability to score goals. There's a lot to like about him in terms of real potential. Again, his release clause has cracked the 80 million euros mark, people. He's becoming more and more expensive, naturally, people. So, yeah, it's only going to go up. Despite Sesko's obvious potential, this seems to be an excessive fee. Arsenal will surely feel that Gyökeres, who is 5 years Sesko's senior, represents better value for money at 60 to 70 million and potentially a more reliable source of goals. So we'll have to see, but there's a tussle for all of these talents, people. Arsenal want to sign 19-year-old Palmeiras winger Luigi this summer, but are braced for competition from Dortmund and Inter. I guess that's one for a scouting video, people. Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester City and Barca are all competing to sign Flamengo right back Wesley this summer. Manchester United and West Ham are interested in signing Aaron Ramsdale. Apparently, Man United have joined several clubs in wanting to sign Brian and Mbeumo, who has a 60 million euros, well, 60 million pounds, apologies, 70 million euros asking price. Man United have joined Arsenal in the race to sign Mbeumo. We'll have to see. Apparently, Thomas Frank has admitted Mbeumo could depart this summer. The club value him at 70 million euros, which does equate to about 60 odd million. I'm not going to read this because no one don't want Leroy Sané, but apparently there's been a bit of a spanner in the works again with his contract negotiations. So naturally, the links to Arsenal are going to re-emerge. Arsenal consider Hudson a top defender and also are in contact with the player side. So we've heard that. And you would have seen Declan Rice has been announced Arsenal's April Player of the Month. Do you lot think he should have won that, or was there someone else?